Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next hour. 18th Pravasi Bharati Divas kickstarts in Temple City, Bhubaneswar. India's External Affairs Minister urges people of Indian origin to promote India as a tourism destination. India will continue to support Maldives' defence needs. India's Rajnath Singh assures Maldivian counterpart during high-level talks in New Delhi. Donald Trump ramps up his expansion threats, doesn't rule out force to take Panama Canal, Greenland, also proposes renaming Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. In the United States, extreme wind whips firestorm through Los Angeles, while winter storm Blair causes power outages and travel chaos into the mid-Atlantic states. India is showcasing areas of opportunity in their motherland to its diaspora living abroad during the 18th edition of the Pravasi Bharati Divas convention, which commenced in Odisha's Bhubaneswar on Wednesday. This year's Pravasi Bharati Divas, or the Overseas Indian Day, promises to be a landmark event weaving together the themes of heritage, innovation and global engagement in the spiritual and cultural heartland of India. The theme this year is Diaspora's Contribution to a Viksit Bharat, that is, Developed India. The format of Pravasi Bharati Divas was revised in 2015 and since then it is held every alternate year. Celebrated to mark the contribution of the overseas Indian community, the conventions provide platform for government to engage overseas Indians. The Government of India organizes Pravasi Bharati Divas in partnership with one of the state governments of the country. The 15th Pravasi Bharati Divas convention was held in Uttar Pradesh, while the 16th edition was held virtually due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The 17th Pravasi Bharati Divas convention was held in Madhya Pradesh, where Indian President honoured around 30 Indian diaspora members with Pravasi Bharati Samman Award. The awardees present excellence achieved by the diaspora in various fields. Now, ahead of the valedictory session, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, along with other ministers and dignitaries, attended the Youth Convention in Bhubaneswar, the customary conclave of the younger generation as part of the Pravasi Bharati Divas celebrations is a testimony to their vital role and significant contribution in the building of a Viksit Bharat and India's global image. Speaking at the inauguration of the Youth Pravasi Bharati Divas, Jaishankar emphasized on the role of youth being paramount in the development of the country.
At a time when so many key developments in the world are being shaped by this younger generation, whether we talk of AI or EV, innovation or startups, space or drones, sports, chess, cricket, there is all the more reason to do so. We have just started our journey towards Viksit Bharat in the Amrit Kal. This is an endeavor that is very much about the future generation.
Further, the External Affairs Minister also underscored the influence of India's youth in global advancements, echoing the impact of Prime Minister Modi's leadership.
An observation by a famous Indian badminton player, P.V. Sindhu, on why Prime Minister Modi is a youth icon. She summed it up as his attitude, which moved the nation from chalta hai to badal sakta hai to hoga kaise nahi. Indeed, it is this very spirit which has driven our achievements in recent years.
Later, Dr. Jaishankar also addressed the Pravasi Bharati business leaders on the sidelines of the event. He urged people of Indian origin to promote India as a tourism destination. He said India will be unique in terms of a major rising power and diaspora can contribute extensively towards this goal.
India will be unique in terms of a major power rising, which has actually is using and will continue to use its diaspora as a very important pathway for its globalization and for its rise in the international order. Our Prime Minister often talks of 3 T's when it comes to evaluating foreign policy. The 3 T's are trade, technology, and tourism. Trade with and from Odisha, technology and tourism. These are really very important dimensions of what this state has to offer.
TD India's Amritpal Singh joins us from Bhubaneswar in Odisha now. Amritpal, for the benefit of our viewers, why does India hold this day for its diaspora every 2 years?
India holds this to capitalize on its diaspora. As we just heard the External Affairs Minister say that India will continue to use its diaspora for its own globalization. This is about a 35.4 million strong diaspora spread over 200 countries. They come with a certain leverage in the countries that they live in. Some of them are businessmen, some of them work in IT, many of them are even part of the blue-collared workforce. They send remittances back home. So they can be part of the India growth story, the India expansion story at various levels. And that's what the External Affairs Minister was trying to convey to the diaspora gathered here, that you are a valuable partner for us. Come, be a part of our growth story for mutual benefit. Of course, the emotional connect, the cultural connect, some of them migrated 100 years back. Some of them the British took as, say, indentured labor, etc. So there are generations who've lived abroad. Some of them are just fresh off the boat, working on H-1B visas, or the people working in Gulf work there, send remittances back home. Interacting with them to build and to strengthen a relationship that is mutually beneficial. And that's why PBD is held. Tanvi?
Okay. We heard Dr. Jaishankar's address at the Youth Pravasi Bharati Divas Convention. So tell us, what can we look forward to today and in the days ahead at this 18th Pravasi Bharati Divas Convention?
I think this key message that the External Affairs Minister tried to send this morning when he inaugurated the Youth Pravasi Bharati Divas was that what he encapsulated when quoting PV Sindhu about the Prime Minister being a youth icon, saying, "Chalta hai, tu badal sakta hai, tu hoga kaise nahi." He was trying to tell the youth that your ambitious aspirations can be matched by strong foundations. There is a will on part of India to change itself, to grow. So it is mutually beneficial. Your kind of aspirations, be it in whatever field you are in, arts, culture, IT, technology, EV, AI, come, we are growing, invest in us, be a part of this growth story. That's the theme for this year. The diaspora's contribution to Viksit Bharat, or developed India, which India endeavors to be by 2047. With just 2 decades left, clearly, the youth, the kind of energy and ambition that they bring to the table, India wishes to capitalize on that, and that's what the EAM was trying to convey to the youth gathered here, and through them later when they return to their countries, more compatriots of theirs who haven't been able to make it to this event in Bhubaneswar. Tanvi?
Okay, thank you very much. Amritpal Singh reporting from the Pravasi Bharati Divas Convention in Odisha. On Thursday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be inaugurating the 18th edition of Pravasi Bharati Divas Convention. Overseas Indian Day is being organized since 2003 to celebrate the contribution of Indian diaspora and to the growth of development of the country. The chief guest of the event, the President of Trinidad and Tobago, Christine Carla Kangaloo, will be addressing the convention virtually. Prime Minister Modi will also virtually flag off the first special tourist train for the Indian diaspora called the Pravasi Bharati Express. The train will depart from Nizamuddin railway station in New Delhi, covering multiple destinations of tourist and religious importance. And President Draupadi Murmu will address the valedictory session of the Pravasi Bharati Samman on Friday. The President will confer the Pravasi Bharati Samman Award to the overseas Indians to recognize their outstanding achievements both in India and abroad. On to New Delhi. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and his Maldivian counterpart Mohammad Ghassan Maumoon held delegation-level talks in New Delhi on Wednesday. During the talks, the two leaders reviewed the various facets of bilateral defence cooperation, including training, regular exercises, defence projects, workshops, seminars to enhance the capability of the Maldivian National Defence Forces, as well as supply of defence equipment and stores. The top military brass from both sides participated in the meeting. In his opening remarks, the Defence Minister of India, Rajnath Singh, declared all military cooperation to Maldives and spoke about the strong historic bonds the two nations cherish.
India has been offering avenues of capacity building to Maldives in all the fields of defence cooperation, including training, regular exercises, workshops and seminars, to enhance capability of the Maldives National Defence Forces, as well as supply of the defence equipment and stores. It would be important to ensure that we continue the same momentum. India will continue to support Maldives and the Maldives National Defence Force in their capacity building efforts through projects, equipment and training. As a trusted partner and a close friend, I assure you that India will continue to support Maldives on its development needs and the welfare of its people.
Appreciating the military support of India, the Defence Minister of Maldives spoke about the diplomatic and military support extended by India. This includes the prompt support extended by India during the coup in 1988 and during the COVID pandemic recently.
I take this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to the Indian government for its invaluable contributions to the Maldives National Defence Force. Following the tragic events of November 3, 1988, India's swift and decisive support helped us preserve our nation's sovereignty during a time of crisis. Moreover, India's significant role transforming the MNDF from a ceremonial force into a fully fledged military force is a testament to the strength of our partnership.
Earlier, the visiting Maldivian minister was accorded a ceremonial guard of honour at the Manekshaw Centre. Mohammad Ghassan Maumoon is on a 3-day visit to India, during which he will also visit Goa and Mumbai to further strengthen ties between the two countries. India and the Maldives share deep-rooted historical, cultural and linguistic ties, with the Maldives holding a special place in India's neighbourhood first policy. Also, the visiting dignitary started the day by paying floral tributes at the National War Memorial in New Delhi. The meeting comes a week after Maldives Minister of Foreign Affairs Abdullah Khalil wrapped up his first official visit to India. And India's Vishal Baristo joins us on the story now. India-Maldives relations, Vishal, have experienced their ups and downs. What does this meeting between Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Maldivian Defence Minister tell us about the state of India-Maldives relations?
State of India-Maldives relations. Well, Tanvi, yes, we all know that it is a very important visit of the Defense Minister of Maldives, and it follows closely on the heels of External Affairs Minister of Maldives to India. And India has assured all kind of support to Maldives, and you heard the Maldives Defense Minister also expressing his gratitude towards India's help. India has declared that it would continue to support for the strengthening of the Maldives National Defense Forces, which includes training, equipment supply, and also all kind of technical support. So this is an important visit, and it is the 3-day visit, and a bilateral meeting was also held between the two ministers, and they also spoke about how India and Maldives are connected linguistically, ethnically, and historically. At this moment, the Defense Minister of Maldives also spoke about the coup in 1988 when India responded, and it was quite a proactive response, and Maldives is still thankful to the country like India. And both countries play a very important role as far as the Indian Ocean region is concerned, and that is why the defense cooperation and also the diplomatic cooperation between the two countries is very, very important.
Okay, thank you very much, Vishal Barrister reporting from New Delhi. Still to come on DD India News. India is on a bold mission to redefine its energy future, with Prime Minister Modi set to inaugurate a green hydrogen hub in Andhra Pradesh today. One body has been recovered from the ill-fated mine in which 15 miners are feared to be trapped after it was flooded on January 6th in India's Assam. From monitoring crowds to managing emergencies, a multi-layered security strategy is in place in Prayagraj for the Maha Kumbh.
This week on Defense Dynamics, discover India's strategy to counter Turkey's Bayraktar drones used by both Pakistan and Bangladesh. Decode the Indian Navy's new ships set for commissioning on this January the 15th. Uncover why the US stealth destroyer Zumwalt is going to be the deadliest warship of the future. And in the Neighborhood Watch, we will analyze for you the geopolitics behind Pakistan's intelligence chief's visit to Tajikistan. All this and much more on Defense Dynamics this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I am Tanvi Taneja. In yet another key step towards his commitment for green energy and sustainable future, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone for a major green hydrogen project in Pudimadaka, Andhra Pradesh on Wednesday. The initiative, spearheaded by NTPC Green Energy, is a key part of the government's push for clean energy. With an estimated investment of 1.87 lakh crore rupees, the project will mark a significant milestone for renewable energy in the region. DD India's Dibyendu Mondal explains about India's green hydrogen mission.
India is on a bold mission to redefine its energy future. With an eye on becoming energy independent by 2047 and achieving net zero emission by 2070, the country is ramping up efforts to transition to renewable energy across all sectors. And at the heart of this transformation is green hydrogen, a clean, sustainable fuel that promises to reshape India's energy landscape. But what exactly is green hydrogen? It's a clean energy source produced through the process of electrolysis, where electricity from renewable sources like solar and wind is used to split water into hydrogen and oxygen. The result? Pure hydrogen with zero harmful emissions, no fossil fuels, no carbon footprints. In India, green hydrogen is not just an energy source, it's the key to achieving the ambitious goals. Reducing fossil fuel dependency, creating new industries, and contributing to the fight against climate change. The National Green Hydrogen Mission, approved in January 2022, aims to make India a global leader in hydrogen production and exports. By 2030, the mission is set to achieve a production capacity of 5 million metric tons per year, driving the country's renewable energy sector to new heights.
Energy transition and sustainability have become central to global policy discourse. Friends, India is committed towards creating cleaner and greener planet. We were the first among G20 nations to fulfill our Paris commitments on green energy.
By 2030, the green hydrogen mission is expected to generate over 6 lakh jobs and attract more than 8 lakh crore rupees in investments. And crucially, it will slash over 1 lakh crore rupees in fossil fuel imports. Green hydrogen can also revolutionize sectors like transportation, industry, and power generation. It offers the potential to replace fossil fuels in steel manufacturing, petroleum refining, and even long-haul transportation. And in remote areas, it could serve as a decentralized power source, boosting energy access and reducing reliance on traditional grid systems. The National Green Hydrogen Mission is a game changer for India's energy security. It taps into the country's vast renewable energy resources, ensuring a sustainable and self-reliant energy future for generations to come. With advancements in green hydrogen technology, India is positioning itself at the forefront of the global renewable energy revolution. And with the government's continued focus on research and development, India is poised to lead the world in green hydrogen production and exports. Dibyendu Mondal's report for DD India.
In Andhra, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also dedicate to the nation, lay the foundation stone and inaugurate various railway and road projects, which include foundation stone laying of South Coast Railway headquarters at Visakhapatnam, among various other projects. He will also lay the foundation for the bulk drug park in Anakapalli district and Krishnapatnam industrial area in Tirupati district of Andhra Pradesh. And in the latest update from Assam coal mine mishap, the body of one of the 9 miners trapped inside a flooded coal mine in Dima Hasao district of Assam was recovered by a diving team of the Indian Army on Wednesday. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma took to X to confirm the recovery, stating 21 para-divers have just recovered a lifeless body from the bottom of the well. Meanwhile, along with National Disaster Response Force and State Disaster Response Force, the Indian Navy has mobilized a specialized team comprising 1 officer and 11 sailors to assist in the rescue operations of the trapped miners. The incident occurred on Monday after a sudden gush of water flooded the coal mine. Every 12 years, the Mahakumbh festival attracts millions from across the globe, all seeking spiritual solace on the banks of the holy river. What keeps this massive congregation safe and orderly is a seamless blend of tradition and technology. In 2025, security at Prayagraj's Mahakumbh Mela has undergone a remarkable transformation. From monitoring crowds to managing emergencies, a multi-layered security strategy is in place to maintain peace and guide millions through this sacred journey. DD India's Siddharth Bhardwaj reports.
Every 12 years, the Mahakumbh Mela invites millions of people from all over the world to converge at the banks of Holy River. But behind this, a silent force is at work, ensuring this sacred gathering remains peaceful and safe.
See, the traffic is being controlled by our traffic police and the other police arrangements we have made. But we do include civil defense and other NGOs for helping at the ghats and also, as you mentioned, these old people and in the digital lost and found centers. Various places where humane interface is required, we are including them.
In Mahakumbh 2025, security has evolved. Gone are those days of traditional patrolling. Technology now plays a pivotal role. I am at the monitoring center which has been set up here at Mahakumbh 2025, and as you can see behind me, there is heavy monitoring going on. Around 1600 cameras have been set up to make sure no one is left behind.
AI and machine learning have been integrated to track patterns of movement, detect anomalies, and alert authorities in real time. Facial recognition is also being used to identify individuals who may pose a threat.
With millions of people gathered at one place, maintaining law and order is no small feat. It takes a unified effort between local, state, and national agencies to ensure safe and smooth movement of the crowd.
As part of security measures, security personnel are checking all vehicles and identity cards of individuals entering the area. A bomb squad has also been stationed nearby for any eventualities. Multi-layered strategy for crowd management, including barriers, designated pathways, and constant communication with ground teams. The focus is not just on policing, but on guiding and assisting the public. While technology and authorities play key roles, the real strength of the Kumbh Mela security lies in the hands of its volunteers.
This is Mahakumbh Mela, where tradition meets modern security, creating a safe haven for millions who come here for faith, solace, and peace. With camera person Rakesh Kumar, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Prayagraj.
Artists are beautifying Prayagraj, meanwhile, with vibrant wall murals as part of the preparations for Mahakumbh. These artworks, inspired by cultural and spiritual themes, create a welcoming atmosphere for devotees while showcasing the artistic heritage of the region. And next we take a look at what else is making news in India. Speaker of India's lower house, known as Lok Sabha, Om Birla, visited the Dr. Ambedkar Museum in London on Tuesday and called it a profound tribute to the life and legacy of the architect of the Indian Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Om Birla is on a 5-day official visit to the United Kingdom, Scotland and Guernsey. India reported its 7th suspected case of human metapneumovirus HMPV in a 6-month-old infant of Mumbai on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Maharashtra State Health Minister said that there was no need to panic about the HMPV virus. The state government is taking necessary precautions to deal with the situation. HMPV, first identified in 2001, is a respiratory infection that causes flu-like symptoms. The final high-speed trials of Jammu and Kashmir's Katra-Banihal section of the Udhampur-Srinagar-Baramulla rail link project were held on Wednesday as part of the mandatory inspection by the Commissioner of Railway Safety. The Indian Railways have conducted 6 trials over the past month on various segments of the track, including the Anji-Khat Bridge and the Chenab Bridge. The Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO's indigenous SpaceX mission's docking is going to take place on Thursday. The SpaceX mission, which stands for Space Docking Experiment, is the country's first demonstration of the automated docking system, which will be used to link spacecraft in orbit around the Earth and the Moon. Still to come on DD India News Hour. So what's behind Donald Trump's expansion pitch? We discuss it with our expert. In South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol faces a new and potentially more robust attempt to arrest him on insurrection charges. And Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro orders nationwide mass deployment of military ahead of his presidential swearing-in. back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Tanvi Taneja. A quick relook of the headlines we're tracking at this hour. 18th Pravasi Bharati Divas kickstarts in Temple City, Bhubaneswar. India's External Affairs Minister urges people of Indian origin to promote India as a tourism destination. India will continue to support Maldives' defence needs. India's Rajnath Singh assures Maldivian counterpart during high-level talks. Trump ramps up his expansion threats, doesn't rule out force to take Panama Canal and Greenland, also proposes renaming Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. In the US, extreme wind whips firestorm through Los Angeles, while winter storm Blair causes power outages and travel chaos into the mid-Atlantic states. In less than a fortnight ahead of his inauguration, US President-elect Donald Trump has revealed that his presidential agenda involves even military action to secure Panama Canal. While his announcement has given shockwave to the Latin American country, the Panama government has ruled out any negotiation on the sovereignty of the world-famous canal. A report.
US President-elect Donald Trump refused on Tuesday to rule out using military or economic action to pursue acquisition of the Panama Canal, part of a broader expansionist agenda he has promoted since winning the November 5 election. He was addressing a press conference at his home in southern Florida Tuesday, a day after Congress certified his election victory. Trump didn't rule out military action to pursue his goal.
The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something.
He also alleged that Panama Canal is now being run by China.
Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way.
The US President-elect said that transferring the canal to Panama was a mistake of the then US President Jimmy Carter. Panama's Foreign Minister Javier Martinez Acha has said that the sovereignty of Panama Canal is not negotiable. He addressed a claim by Trump that Chinese soldiers operate the waterway connecting the Atlantic and Pacific. The minister said that the only hands operating the canal are Panamanian. Built by the United States, the Panama Canal was handed to the Central American country as a result of negotiation in September 1977 when Jimmy Carter was the US president. The Panama Canal Treaty gave the control of the canal to Panama on December 31, 1999. With inputs from Akhilesh Suman, Antara Sinha for DD India.
US President-elect Donald Trump said that he wanted to rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America in his latest eye-catching plan as he prepares to take office later this month. Along with this, other decisions are also on his agenda. More in this report.
Apart from not ruling out military action to secure the Panama Canal, US President-elect Donald Trump has also threatened to employ economic measures against neighboring Canada in meandering remarks Tuesday that drew firm and frosty responses from the US neighbor. Speaking after Congress certified his election victory, the Republican president-elect gathered reporters at his home in southern Florida to announce a $20 billion Emirati investment in US technology. He announced he was going to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America and threatened the US's southern neighbor again with massive tariffs if it does not halt illegal border crossings.
Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory.
The president-elect also described the new name as beautiful and appropriate. He also added that eliminating the artificially drawn US-Canada border would be a boon to national security.
Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's response was equally shrill and firm. He said that there is a snowball's chance in hell that Canada will merge with the United States. Trump has also ruffled European feathers with a separate territorial proposal to buy Greenland, an island abutting the emerging Arctic geopolitical battleground that the former real estate developer sees as important to US security. He refused to rule out using military force to seize Greenland. Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., arrived on the island shortly before his father's remarks for what was described as a personal visit with no official meetings scheduled. Denmark, which Greenland is an autonomous territory of, is a US ally and a fellow member of NATO. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen told broadcaster TV2 she didn't have the fantasy Trump's plans for Greenland would ever get off the ground. Bureau Report, DD India.
Professor Swaran Singh, Foreign Affairs expert from the School of International Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, joins us now. Thank you, sir, for being with us. So, US President-elect Donald Trump has made significant statements about the Panama Canal, Greenland and Canada. Let's consider them one by one, sir. Why has Trump talked about taking over the Panama Canal, even as he has said that even if it involves taking military action? Why does Trump consider it so important to take over the Panama Canal? And could it happen? Would China remain silent?
First of all, I think this is part of the larger Donald Trump scheme of undoing everything that the United States has done in terms of maintaining global leadership in the last 80 years. And of course, in that, Panama Canal is a very strategic link, particularly with the international trade and the shipping really witnessing a boom in the last 30, 40 years. That makes it very significant that if Chinese shipping and ships are becoming much more increasingly visible in Panama Canal, and the skepticism of China's influence in American backyard as if is increasing, it's a matter of concern. But the fact that you can take over territories like Panama Canal, Gulf of Mexico, Greenland, and Canada is, I think, audacious. It's showcasing designate President Trump's confidence or overconfidence in being elected for a second time, and as if whatever he stands for has got an endorsement from the popular electorate in the United States. But let me also remind you that not everything that Donald Trump says comes to fruition. For example, his 2016 campaign was built on building a wall between the United States and Mexico, for which Mexico was supposed to pay. Of course, nothing of that sort happened. But it's also true that he made United States walk out of several international major arrangements that United States was using to emerge and stay as a global leader. So in that sense, it does become disconcerting, and I think several leaders, particularly leaders of those countries, are definitely paranoid. If, in that sense, you're seeing some responses, fairly strong responses on the other side.
Yes, Trump has spoken of buying Greenland, saying it is important to US security. He's not ruled out using military force again there. The Danish Prime Minister has called this a fantasy. How important is Greenland for US security? Could the US actually take over Greenland, and how would NATO react?
The United States is a country that has presence almost in all parts of the world. Its naval commands are covering almost entire planet as if. So it's not that the United States doesn't see its security interest in any part, only Greenland is not an exception. But remember, in early 1990s, when Kuwait was swallowed by Iraq, United States was on the global lead to ensure that no sovereign nations can be taken over in that kind of fashion. International boundaries are sanctimonious, and that is now being apparently, projected to something that the United States leadership doesn't care anymore. And of course, this is absolutely not likely to happen the way it is being projected, because the entire international community will stand up against it. It's not possible to simply buy and take over territories. It happened in 19th century, of course, when British colony in the United States was buying other European countries' colonial territories. It never happened after that, and I think today the norm of sovereignty is very strong. So this could be a rhetoric which I don't know appeals who in the United States, but I don't see any possibilities of other than simply creating disruption, making unnecessary, useless headlines. And it's going to make him increasingly isolated, I suppose.
So, considering Trump's significant statements about the Panama Canal, Greenland and Canada together, along with his statement that he would like to rename the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America, what does all this tell us about A, America's relations with these three as well as other countries under Trump's presidency, B, US security as envisioned by Trump, and C, Trump's idea of his own place in world history?
See, we are remembering these days Jimmy Carter. From that time onwards, a very positive relationship and synergy was built between Canada, United States and Mexico, emerging as a NAFTA regional arrangement in that sense. And these two countries share a very significant, critical relationship with the United States, and now ratcheting up unnecessary controversies like renaming Gulf of Mexico or making Canada the 51st state and so on are completely unnecessary. There is no reason why such a proposition should even be considered instead of being publicly made one after another. And I believe that this is only going to make United States increasingly isolated if it starts talking in those lines with its own allies. Forget its adversaries and other countries. It has very strong relationship with NATO members, with Denmark particularly. It has very strong relationship with Mexico and Canada. So these are completely, it really lacks any explanation why such audacious, strange kind of statements not just made, but pursued and insisted again and again, and this is completely disruptive.
Very quickly, sir, is the world likely to be a safer place under Trump's presidency or possibly the reverse?
Two things. One, United States is definitely the most powerful nation, but it is not the sole determinant of how the world will run. Second, within the United States, thanks to the division of power in executive, legislature and judiciary and the whole what we call deep state in the United States, president alone is not someone who can do whatever he or she wants. There are whole checks and balances arrangements within the United States and for United States, again at the global level, given all the international arrangements, norms, conventions, treaties and so on. So it's basically rhetoric. I think this can temporarily put some countries, some nations, some leaders in panic, and therefore need for them to respond to some such uncalled for statements. But I don't think this by itself is going to make a world unsafe in coming times. I think the threats of terrorism, climate change, refugees and so on, those are real threats. And I the United States can become a global threat in that fashion. It is going to be only counterproductive. It's going to damage United States leadership credentials, and that will actually make space for emerging powers like India, China, and others to take that space of leadership and ensure stability and peace around the world. It's definitely going to be counterproductive. I see no reason why this should not stop as soon as possible.
Okay. On that note, thank you very much, Professor Swaran Singh, for being with us and sharing all this thought on this rather expansionist approach of Donald Trump. All right, shifting focus to South Korea now, where suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol faces a new and potentially more robust attempt to arrest him on insurrection charges after a top investigator vowed to do whatever it takes to break a security blockade and take in the impeached leader. Protesters, both supporting and opposing the embattled impeached President Yoon, continued to brave freezing temperatures to stage rallies on the streets around the presidential compound on Wednesday after a court reissued a warrant to arrest Yoon on Tuesday. Yoon is under criminal investigation for insurrection over his December 3rd martial law bid that stunned South Korea and led to the first arrest warrant to be issued for a sitting president. He's also involved in a separate constitutional court trial over his December 14th impeachment for violating his constitutional duties with the late-night martial law declaration. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro declared a mass deployment of military and police forces across the country. Maduro also announced the arrest of 7 foreigners, including 2 Americans, whom he accused of buying mercenaries trying to prevent him from being sworn in for another 6 years in power. Maduro said that the detained US citizens were very high level but did not provide further details or evidence of the arrests. The announcement of Americans being detained came just hours after President Joe Biden welcomed exiled Venezuelan opposition candidate Edmundo González Urrutia in the United States. Neither the US Department of State nor Colombia's foreign ministry have responded to this. Maduro is set to take office for a third term on Friday following last July's contested election. And several parts of the United States are dealing with disasters of extreme kinds. In the West, Los Angeles City of California declared a state of emergency on Wednesday as ferocious wildfire exploded from 10 acres to more than 2,900 acres in hours. The wildfire in the suburb impacted around 13,000 buildings and sparked panicked evacuations of over 30,000 people. The fire has intensified, doubling in size within 24 hours, aided by high winds that weather officials have called life-threatening and destructive, with isolated wind gusts potentially reaching up to 100 miles per hour in some areas. These winds are forecast to remain high, perhaps reaching 129 to 160 kilometers per hour over the higher ground and fanning the flames down towards more populated areas around Los Angeles. Although wildfires are a common phenomenon in California, but this fire is unsettling because it's affecting more populated areas. In a bit of relief, weatherman says that cooler temperatures and more humid air are expected in the region, potentially aiding efforts to slow the fire's advance. While the eastern and central parts of the US are witnessing the first major winter storm of the new year, Blair, a major storm system that blanketed a large swathe of the mid-Atlantic states in snow and ice, disrupting travel, closing down federal offices and public schools in Washington, D.C. About 5 inches had fallen in the nation's capital by Monday, according to the US National Weather Service, with up to 8 inches in some surrounding areas of Maryland and Virginia. The snow was forecast to continue throughout the day before the system pushes out to the sea. And on to business news now. Germany has long suffered from one particular problem slowing down its economy. There's a lack of skilled workers in the country. Many job positions can't be filled. For some time now, the Berlin government has worked with a new program to attract talent. And there's some new numbers out. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now. Lars, what can you tell us about this new program? How does it work?
Thanks for having me. Well, let's start with a bit of a vocabulary lesson. We're talking about the Chancenkarte or opportunity card. That is essentially a visa for foreign workers to immigrate to Germany, and it would be the easiest way to actually do that. Now, one should know, of course, that generally moving to another country to live and work there is quite complicated in most parts of the world. So Germany is not unique in how long the process takes and how complicated the paperwork is. But the government has this program in place, bypassing much of the bureaucracy. The Chancenkarte works on a point system. You get enough credits or points, you get the card, and you're welcome to come over. So as for these credits, you need 6 of them. You get 4 for having a professional qualification that is recognized in the EU. You get 3 points for working at least 5 years in a particular profession. You get between 1 and 3 points for language proficiency, depending on just how proficient you are. So for seriously qualified candidates, for skilled and trained workers, this is very achievable.
So Lars, what kind of jobs are we talking about? Who can apply?
Jobs where Germany is kind of desperate for qualified people, starting with math and IT, engineering, natural sciences and medicine. But just recently, the group of jobs was widened to also include veterinarians, dentists, pharmaceutical jobs, as well as highly skilled jobs in construction, production, logistics, as well as the entire health and care sector. Now, it's important to know that applicants from those job sectors do not actually need a job offer from a German company to come here. That is the beauty of this deal. They can come here first and they will get the help they need once they are in Germany. That, of course, includes putting them in touch with companies that hire or with schools for further training if necessary. Now, most of recent arrivals here are actually from India. Most of those are going into IT jobs. Other countries with lots of applicants are China, Turkey, Russia, and Tunisia. And the success rate is quite high. 85% of applicants, as per this latest statistic, are getting accepted.
Thank you, Lars. Lars Salter reporting from DW Berlin. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sporting action. Tottenham Hotspur locked horns with Arne Slot's Liverpool side in a high-profile encounter of the EFL Cup at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Wednesday. The two teams have experienced contrasting fortunes this season and would want to win this game. Liverpool will play in the semi-finals of the EFL Cup for the 20th time. No other team has reached this stage of the tournament as often as the Reds. In fact, Liverpool is the most successful team in the history of the EFL Cup, having won it a record 10 times, including twice in the last 3 years. Newcastle moved a step closer to a first major domestic trophy since 1955 with a 2-0 victory over Arsenal in the first leg of the English League Cup semi-finals. Goals from Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon at the Emirates Stadium put Newcastle within the reach of the final at the Wembley Stadium in March. The second leg is at the St. James Park on 5th of February. It was Newcastle's first win at the Emirates since 2010 and Arsenal's first home defeat since April. Arsenal was unbeaten in 13 games in all competitions and is second in the Premier League standings. Andy Murray is hitting the ground running in his new role as coach to Novak Djokovic, with ambitions to etch their names into the history books at the upcoming Australian Open. Their collaboration aims to inject fresh perspectives into Djokovic's game as he seeks to defend his title at this year's first major tournament. As they prepare in Melbourne ahead of the Australian Open, Djokovic is eager to clinch the title for an unprecedented 11th time, further solidifying his legacy in the sport. HS Prannoy overcame the challenges posed by Canada's Brian Yang and won the first round match, which was resumed on day 2 of the competition to enter the round of 16 of the Malaysia Open. Prannoy, who is playing his first tournament since the Olympics, held a comfortable lead against Brian Yang of Canada when rainwater started leaking through the roof, halting the match on Tuesday. Play resumed after an hour, but persistent leak forced the officials to suspend the match. Meanwhile, in the men's doubles event, India's sole representatives will be Satvik and Chirag. The duo will take on Chinese Taipei's Ke Tang and MC Lu in their first round match on Wednesday. And January 8th is observed every year as Earth's Rotation Day. Today, the world celebrates the anniversary of French physicist Léon Foucault's 1851 proof that the Earth rotates on its axis. While the Earth rotates constantly, it is fascinating to reflect on how this rotation impacts everything from weather patterns to the length of a day. Earth Rotation Day serves as a reminder of the dynamic and ever-moving nature of our planet Earth. That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.